So the positioning of where you actually mounted this foil is super important. How do you determine that?
Yeah, I mean, on the shorter boards, we've been mounting it 20 inches from the tail. So, like on my 8.0, it's 20 inches from the tail. On this,
20 inches from the back of the tail to the back of the foil?
To the back of the box, yeah, the opening of the box.
Back of the box.
So,
Okay.
20 inches, and then like another friend of mine, Alan, has a short board, like a 5.2, this is a prone surfboard, and he has about 10 inches from the tail.
Wow.
And on this one, we put it like 40 inches forward, just to be able to cut off like 2 feet off the tail, basically. That's what my thinking was. I can cut 2 feet off and still have enough area to put my feet in, and that actually seems to work really well, because on a 12.6 you don't want to have to walk all the way back to the tail to get it to lift. So when you're catching a bump, you don't want to have to move really far back. You want to be able to generate the speed in the middle, and then maybe step back a little bit to fly it, but not too far back. You know?
And that's always the hard thing with longer race boards is that you got to walk all the way to the back to make it turn a lot of times.
Yeah.
But on this one, you wouldn't have to. You'd only have to take a half step or something, and then you could turn from the middle almost.
Yeah. So I would.
That's kind of cool.
I think a good way to look at it is kind of where you're. If you have your front foot like kind of right on the middle of the board, and if your back foot on the foil, that's kind of where you want your balance point to be, where the foil is kind of.
So you can actually just stay on the middle part, catch the bump, and then just take a step back without taking a couple steps back.
Exactly, yeah, because especially when you're catching a bump, you want to stay forward until you gain speed, and then not have to walk all the way back. So that's what my thinking was anyway. So, and that seems to work well. And I think one.
But you haven't got to the day yet
on Kai's board, like. The reason I think they chopped off the tail is they first put the box too far back, and then they had to like chop off the tail and mount the box further forward. So, yeah, I don't know, there's still a lot of experimenting going on. So before you go out and like buy a custom downwind foil board, I think there's
better try it or
change.
something.
And some people are saying you don't even need 10. Like you can. All you need is like a 7-foot board, because
on downwind.
It's because it's lighter and easier to lift once you get it. Like as long as you can get up to speed, the shorter the board, the better. Basically.
Is that for a 150-pound rider or what?
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, a
7-foot board, I'd sink that standing on it.
Tried
I'd sink it.
I think the advantage of having a longer board, especially when the wind dies or it gets lighter. So this board here is like a really light layup. So it's a very lightweight board. So that. I think the weight is important too. Like the lighter the board is, the easiest kind of lift out of the water. And obviously the lighter the rider is, that's maybe even more important than the weight of the board. So, and then the weight of the foil doesn't necessarily matter as much because it's submerged. So I don't know. And some people are actually saying a heavier foil is more stable because it's basically like a keel on a boat. Like they put weights on the keel of the boat, right, just to keep it more stable. So because the weight is so far down, it actually helps with stability. So having a heavy foil is not necessarily a disadvantage. It's more
the heavy board.
The heavy board is more of a downside. Yeah.
Well, this is an interesting development. I actually thought that no one could ride it initially when I was looking at it because. People are like, wow, did you see that Kai Lenny video? I'm like, yeah, I also saw Danny Way jump over the Great Wall of China on his skateboard. But that doesn't mean like normal people can do this. You know what I mean? I've seen all kinds of, I watched Laird ride Chopu. So what? I can't do that. You know what I mean? Like, they make it look easy, but man.
But yeah, I mean, I would say like if I can do it, then everybody that's
then like 10% can do it.
Everyone it's at my level, and there's plenty of guys that are at my level that they can do it.
But I tell you, Travis Grant, who's like super awesome. He's lightweight, but he rides his board. I told him, he told me, dude, this thing is really hard. He goes, I'm having such a hard time balancing, and I told him, if you have a hard time balancing on this, I can't even sit on your race board without falling off. Like his race board is so tippy, I can't even sit on it.
Right.
I mean, I don't even bother.
Yeah, Travis told me like he has his he has like a longer kind of a race board too, and I think they chopped it down to like 10 feet or something. And he said he can pretty much catch anything. You can get it foiling, but then he can't keep it, like it comes up too fast and comes up too high and stuff like that. But then I'm thinking it has to do with his foot positioning too and his weight. Like you have to be able to. Like the hard part is not to get it to foil. The hard part is keeping it level, So then for that you have to have your feet in the exact.
So you got to turn it, keeping it level. Is that almost pivoting like a skateboard?
So basically, if this is the mass of the foil and this is your body, on top of it, right? So then when you're turning it, it's almost like flying an airplane. It's kind of like you're rotating the tail of the airplane, and then it follows. So
it's not like you're going on rail or stuff then at all.
And you want it, like, there's some G-forces, so you do have to lean into it a little bit, but it has to be at the same angle as the foil, you know. As soon as you like lean like this and the foil is like that, you're gonna crash, you know. So it's very sensitive. So and yeah, I guess the good way to think of it is like an airplane, you know, like you got the front wing and the tail kind of stabilizing it, so lifting, you know, like the stability of the board is this way, and then side to side is like banking it into turns, you know. So and then it's almost like you're rotating it around the mast to turn it more than so much leaning into it, you know.
Wow.
It becomes very sensitive. I mean,
it's really different.
Once you're flying, it's like a whole new. It's like it doesn't.
It's like driving a car.
It doesn't feel like surfing anymore.
Yeah.
Well, it's like driving a car, and all of a sudden you're in a hovercraft or a hoverboard. You're like floating on the surface, and the whole thing just kind of hovers, you know.
Yeah, like a hovercraft.
That's
you don't
what it feels
really
like. It doesn't. You can't steer with the wheels anymore. You have to like steer. I don't know. You have to fly it, you know.
So is most of the allure just because it's kind of new and challenging, and you know we haven't had something super new and challenging in stand-up in a while, or what? Or is it that much more fun because you're in the air? And I mean, what is?
You know, I don't know. I mean, you probably remember like the first time when you're a kid and the first time you catch a wave, or maybe you don't remember, but that's kind of the point when, you know, if you love it, that's when you get hooked, right? You catch a wave and you're like, wow, I love this feeling. You know, I wanted to keep doing that.
Or when you're first starting, even on stand-up.
Yeah, or in the stand-up, you catch your first wave and you just kind of gliding over the surface.
Yeah, caught the first one and fell right off the back.
Yeah, but then it's like, oh, I want more of this. This is awesome. You know, you feel like a kid, you know. And that's kind of like the first time I got to fly, I was like, that was so cool. I want to just keep doing it every day. And I was like,
I can imagine that.
And I've been, you know, like paddling for 10 years now or whatever, maybe more. But, you know, and I still love it and stuff like that. But to me now, this is like, I'm so excited about it. It's like new, exciting. So it makes me feel like a Grom again, like a little kid that's surfing his first wave. I'm like, wow, this is so awesome, you know.
So you take off that fin every time you put it on your car, or no?
I actually leave it on most of the time. I guess Alex Aguirre recommends us popping it off every time.
Going to the parking garage by accident and boom.
Like I have, you know, my garage at home. I put my garage door opener. I put it away when the thing's on my car, so I can't accidentally push the button and just drive into my garage. So I have to like hide it, because you know, like sometimes you just get home
forget, and then next thing you know, crash. You're like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
I got a problem.
And then I made like some racks in the shop, so I can just throw it on the racks with the thing on it.
Probably better stay in the shop.
Yeah, but I always get looks when I drive around with it. It's like, what the heck is that? You know?
I know, like the Red Bull car. You know, has the can on it. Yours just looks like a shark or something. You should hang a banner on it.
Yeah, what's fun too is if you're surfing with it, and people, you know, like you just get out to the break and you're just catching a wave, and all of a sudden you like lift up and you start like flying. People are like, whoa, like everyone's heads are just turning, like, what's going on? You know?
It's cool as long as I think people are safe. That's the main thing.
It can be.
It's just spooky having something like that in the lineup, especially if it's somewhat bigger or the person doesn't really know what they're doing. I mean,
definitely
that could be dangerous.
Yes.
They fall off, thing flips up, boom, hit somebody. Like even on a stand-up, when it's windy, you know what I mean? When it's windy on a stand-up and the board will fly, that's dangerous being downwind of stand-up.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Will you take that in high winds or not really?
Well, I'm planning to, yeah. I mean,
but that would be downwind. You wouldn't surf it, right?
Open ocean, yeah.
Or would you surf it?
You know, I'm not in really high winds, but it's actually worked. Like the nice thing about it is when it's choppy, once you lift off the surface, you don't feel the chop anymore. So it's very smooth even in choppy water. You know,
that's kind of cool.
So like the other day, I was actually out here and it was kind of onshore southerly winds, and I was catching waves pretty far out by castles and just kind of surfing them all the way to the windsock and past the windsock, and just like, and once you're flying, it's just like. You're just soaring, you know. You're hoverboarding over the chop on the surface, so it doesn't bug you at all.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah,
it's really cool. So, what's your parting words that you want to leave with regarding foiling, then?
So, you know, like honestly, I think it's gonna be a big thing. I think it's kind of like the early days of stand-up paddling. That's kind of how I feel about it, and the amount of excitement I feel, and all the guys that I know that have tried it, how excited we are about it. How much fun it is.
So like the technology will get only better.
Yeah. Well, the technology is going to get better, And you know, it is harder to learn and stuff like that, but you know, I would say it's comparable to surfing on a small stand-up or windsurfing on a small board or whatever. It's not like something for everyone, but it's doable, it's learnable, and it's like a whole new it opens up all these doors. So to me, it's like it's gonna be awesome, and I think it's gonna just only grow from here. It's just the beginning, early days, you know.
Maybe when I have time, I can try. I don't know. I'm spooked out.
Just try it behind a boat first, and just easier way into it. That's my recommendation. Yeah, learn it. You know, go behind a boat, learn it slowly. You know, if you don't have a good spot with easy waves, you know, don't go in a crowded place. Don't go on beach breaks. You know, wait. I guess then probably better just to do downwinders. You know, and wait for good windy days and use it in bumps.
Well, it's making it interesting again.
Yeah. And you know, and then I mean, I think like stuff like standing waves. If you have a deep enough standing wave, that could be awesome on a foil, like, or tanker waves, like surfing on tanker waves. You could go for miles probably, or those tidal bores. That kind of stuff is like, if you're good at foiling, that would be awesome. Just having an endless wave that you could just keep going and going. It doesn't have to be steep, but yeah. So that's something hopefully I get to try soon, is just surfing a wave for. Just keep going and going.
That would be interesting in Seattle, where the tanker waves went with Rob Casey. That would be interesting over there, because that wave goes far.
Galveston, I've heard they have like some good tanker waves.
Interesting.
There. So those kind of conditions, when I watch those videos, I'm like, oh man, that would be perfect for a foil board, you know. So, but yeah, you got to learn it behind a boat first, and I think maybe even you might even be able to use it on wakes, like stuff like in Hood River. They have that. What is it called, the stern wheeler or whatever? You could probably ride it behind one of those, you know. Yeah. Anyways,
it'll be interesting.
It'll
be interesting
you know,
to see.
It's not just the surf. It just opens up a lot of possibilities, I think. So yeah.
Okay.
Cool new sport. Thanks, Evan.
Well, cool. Well, thanks you guys for watching. This was another board meeting. I'm Evan from StandUpPaddleSurf.net.
And Robert from Blue Planet. Aloha.
Aloha. Check us out next time. See you in the water.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Please comment, give us a thumbs up, and see you next time.